Okay. Good evening, afternoon, morning, everybody. This is Richard Bonell and Michelle King, another one of our webinars. We've got a lot lined up for you tonight. There's quite a lot of interesting stuff going on tonight. But first, I just want to go into our disclaimer. This webinar is definitely not any financial advice. The concepts in this webinar is designed for discussion and ideas. This webinar is a partner-run webinar, and Richard Bonell and myself, we do not have any financial qualifications. We recommend that you all get independent professional advice for any kind of financial activities you're going to do, and we expect you to do your own due diligence. So my webinar tonight, my part of it, I'm going to start off about keeping up to date with the company news and all the different things, the information that's out there, because one of the things I see in our Telegram group is, and a lot of socials, is people asking the same question over and over and over again. And a lot of this information is already in our back office. And I know a lot of people have now converted and they've got their wallets and they're on Unitex, and they don't a lot of us probably haven't gone back into our back office. But the company actually keeps publishing news into our back office in the news section. And this is really important for us, you know, for everybody to every now and then, I mean, I don't mean do it every day, but every now and then log in and just keep up to date with it. So what's going on, especially for those of you that are new to the company or don't know as much, it's really important that you make that effort, because there's quite a lot of news in the back office for us to learn. And those of us that have a team, if you find information, send your team a quick SMS or a newsletter or a quick email or even a phone call, and just alert them to something new. Because what's happening to a lot of the admins on the socials are, we're getting bombarded with question after question, and they're the same. And personally, I get a zillion emails, and I know Richard does as well, messages, and we try to help as many as we can, but realistically, we're not online 24/7. And Richard's online more than me, and he's more available, but I wish I could give more time, but I don't have it to give. And I know a lot of the admins in other, like in the Facebook groups and in the official Telegram groups, are struggling to keep up with the same questions. And these questions flood the chats, and we don't seem to move anywhere. And the answers are often on formal company webinars. For those of you that don't go to the closed meeting, if you're not able to, that's okay, but you should at least go to the public company meeting, where you can learn a lot of things from that. So I've just taken a screenshot of where you would find the news. I know most of you all know, but if you go into that section there and you click on news, you'll see lots of articles, and there's always different articles published in the different tabs. So it's really worth logging into the different tabs, like Evo Rich and Academy of the Private Investor, and just go in and just have a quick read of the news. Some of the stuff will relate to where you're at and what you want to learn about, and some of it won't, but at least you've had a chance to catch up on that. Join the socials. There's a lot of admins that post a lot of good information, and this information you can take and you can send to your team, and especially if you know people in your team that actually don't do anything, or they're not active. It's once they start seeing constant information from you as a leader, they will then start getting more interested in getting more into learning more about the company. And there's a reason why I'm talking about all the news and learning about it, is because that Richard and I have got quite an interesting presentation tonight to talk to you about why we need to increase the volume and some of the benefits on why. And it's not only trading, it's a lot of other things that come into it. And of course, we have our Telegram group. There's formal company Telegram groups on Telegram that specialize in different areas, like UGP Pay or Unitex, or just the different sections wherever you're interested. You can join all of them, or you can join some of them. And of course, you can join our education group. So I love this saying, like, the more you rely on others, the more likely you are to be disappointed by them. And this is a really true thing in life, and not just in what we have with CRU and WCRU and EvoReach. It's just about everything you do throughout your life. So if you rely on having to go to the chats and say, what about this and how do I do that? And you haven't taken the time to look things up yourself, you often can be given the wrong information, or you can, people find you quite annoying to deal with because they kind of get frustrated having to answer the same questions. So it's really important that you take responsibility for your own journey in CRU and WCRU. So in the chat, I want you all to put a plus if you've been contributing to increasing the volume in the last couple of weeks by exchanging. So can we just see some people who's doing what people I want to see who's done it? So yep, Tom, I can see you've done it. Michelle, Tracy, Praveen. Wow, I'm not counting sort of Benny, Dwayne, Mark. Yep. And isn't that amazing? So you're all actually sitting there doing the trades, and you're all contributing to building up the volume, and that's exactly what we want to see happening. Can anybody put some comments on how they actually feel about the results of their efforts? Like, is there anybody wants to comment on how they're feeling this is working? Come on, I dare you to put something down. Do you feel that the price is going up because of our efforts combined? I mean, I've been doing it. I've been buying and selling and buying and selling. I don't think it's going up as fast as I'd like it to. I did a screenshot at some of what's going on, and it's quite low. This was about 3 hours ago. I took this screenshot. And that's something we have to think about, is what else can we do to increase the volume? Is there anything else you think we can increase the volume on this? I just saw a message from Lorna, disappointed because I've lost money, CRU and UNTB, and the prices are lower. Yep. So do you think there's anything else other than buying and selling that you can do to increase volume? So it's a tricky question. I'm going to show you. So I'm in the testers group, and Maria told us there was approximately 30,000 members that were verified on Unitex. And that was a couple of weeks ago. So it might be 31 or a little bit more by now. So I don't feel that's enough to be on the Unitex and trading. Like I think we need at least 1 million people to really get that volume up. And I think that's where the problem is not having enough people on the exchange trading and buying and selling and bringing some new blood into it. And the idea is, so what do we do? How do we get new people onto the exchange? It's not easy, is it? It's quite hard to find someone, put them on, get them going and stuff like that. Mark, could you just mute yourself, please? So the next, thanks. So the next step is referrals. We've got to get referrals onto Unitex to bump up that number to over 30,000. We need hundreds of thousands of people exchanging every day on that exchange to create the volume. Like, the amount of people that are doing the exchange is not enough. We've got to have volume people doing it. So how do we get a lot of people on the exchange? In your Unitex account, you'll see this yellow bar. So we actually have a referral link that we can actually refer people to Unitex. Click on the go to profile, and then you'll come up with the referral link there. Now that referral link gives you like 20% of a fee. So hypothetically, if someone paid a fee of $1, you'll get 20 cents. It's not like personally for me, that this, I don't see this as an income earning thing for me because I don't have the time to get that type of volume on. However, that referral link is available for anybody, any of us that are on Unitex, to bring in new people to our exchange. The problem is with the referral link is, see these gaps, this is right here. If you cut and paste it from your Unitex, it won't work because there's a bug in the system. So I know many people have just cut and pasted their link and they've got these spaces there and it doesn't work and people cannot register, right? So unfortunately, it has been reported, but, and this is, I can tell you from my experience in web development, this is not a hard thing to fix, but it hasn't been fixed. It's just one of the things that needs to be fixed. But these, well, all we do is you cut and paste this, put it into Microsoft Word, and then take the spaces off so it looks like that. And then you can use the link and it will work that way. So it's really important that you take the spaces off this link, out of that your referral link. And so it looks like that. And then you've got something to refer people to. Now, how do we refer people to? So it's quite difficult to, I don't know about you guys, but for me, this is not my career. I'm just someone that dabbles in Evo Rich and CRU and WCRU and cryptos, and that's how I got involved. But I'm not somebody that feels I can make a career out of being a leader in this company. You know, I once thought I could, and then I find it really hard to talk about people as an MLM business. It's not my style, and not everybody on the planet is like that. It takes a really special kind of person, which I'm not. So I can do things like do webinars, do marketing, you know, help with the Telegram group. I feel that's my contribution to the company. But as a business builder, I don't see myself as somebody like that. So for me to get members in, I don't want to go through the process of signing them up via my referral link anymore on, you know, on Evo Rich or UGPay or Academy of the Private Investor. I just want them to, I just want to get numbers on the exchange. So these are some of the ideas I came up with on how to, for those people who don't have a team, you can actually take your link and you can start to having chats with people in other Facebook groups or friends, and just talk to them about the CRU and the exchange. That's it. And sign them up and get them trading and buying and selling. And even if they get the grinders strategy and work through that. And if instead of having like even 10,000 people do it, if we get up to 1 million people doing it, we're going to see some serious prices with our CRU. So you can join social media groups, you can talk about CRU, and then not try to spam them. Like, don't just drop your link everywhere. Just sort of say, look, there's a new crypto CRU. If anyone wants to have a private message with me, I'm happy to have a chat with you. Give them your referral link to join Unitex if they're interested. You know, talk about the exchange and start growing the numbers. Now, you're better off actually just focusing on getting one person a week that will actually trade than try and sign up 100 people a week that won't do anything, because you're wasting your time and you just, you know, it's just becoming like spam. So you've got to be careful that you just don't start dropping your link in everywhere and getting people to register that do nothing. And those are the sort of people we don't want on the exchange. We want, you know, I'd rather go and find one decent person that will just want to trade and just exchange, and that will help contribute to the volume, to getting that volume up. So one of the rules that we have to do is we have to abide by the company rules. And that means that we cannot disclose closed meeting information ever. And I know most of you know this. Please don't make false promises and unrealistic expectations, and don't exaggerate return potential. Like, I know a lot of us in the early days were, you know, given unrealistic projections by leaders, and, you know, we bought based on those projections. But when it's our turn, we don't want to do that to somebody else. Don't give financial advice if you're not qualified. And it's really important that you only disclose the true information about CRU. One of the benefits you can talk about is the staking of CRU for UNTB. And then that also will encourage them to set up a wallet, which they'll need to buy UNTB. And they will need to then, that's another thing. And then they can stake their CRU for UNTB. Now, a lot of people will be interested in that. And if you can sort of get your sort of conversation in a way that is intelligent and interesting to someone, we'll start bringing people in via a referral link. And I know the company initially didn't like that idea, but for us as CRU holders, we need to have a lot of volume going on into that exchange if we want to push the price up, because it's not going to go up with 30,000 people. It's not going to hit the big amounts unless we get volume going on and people work in this. So there's some of the social media. So you can invite people to social media, like go and join social media groups. There's a lot of YouTube channels on there that you can connect that with people that are mad crypto followers. And that's just my idea on sort of something to add to creating volume. I hope some of you will take that on, because if we can all get together and start bringing more people into our exchange, and then we get them on the all the different plans that are out there, we're going to really smash it with volume. And that's what we have to do. Like the volume thing is something that is amazing, and but the same people can't be doing it day after day. We've got to bring in numbers, and someone like me who may only be able to do once a day, where some people can do 3 or 4 transactions a day, some people can do 50, but sustainable. We're not going to be able to do that for months and months and months non-stop. Some days we're going to have other things to do in life, so we're not going to be on the exchange trading. So that's my presentation tonight. I'm going to hand you over to the amazing Richard, who will take it over. And I hope that helped. I hope that gave you some ideas, guys, on something to think about, and to bring some more numbers into our Unitex exchange. Thank you. Over to you,
Thank
Richard.
you for that. Okay, I will. Yeah, that's good. I think that really is important. I think also another really good source of information is following Andre Harato on his blog. That's another good source of getting some discussion happening. But
got an Instagram as well, which is really good. His Instagram.
Oh yeah, okay.
It's in Russian, but you can translate it. So it is an interesting one to follow.
All right. Well, I will take the screen. Hopefully I will do this correctly. Tell me, Michelle, if you can still see me. I found out how to get rid of that. I'm doing, I think
I can see your screen.
You can see my screen. All right.
Yep,
I can get rid
I'm
of
gonna
that
mute.
little thing. All right. Well, this is exciting, because this is actually the 3rd webinar, but it's actually part 2 of been concentrating on raising the price of CRU. And one of the things that I've come to realise in talking to people, that we've actually got to create a reason that people actually want to own CRU. You know, that's one of the important things, and that's what tonight's webinar, my presentation tonight, is about trying to identify some of the areas of why owning CRU is important. Because I believe there is an incredibly powerful reason, and okay, we show the picture that it's a knockout reason to still have CRU, and I still have hundreds of thousands of unlocked CRU, And hopefully, by the time I've finished my presentation tonight, everybody who sees it will actually understand why. And we're also going to talk about how we trade and able to do our exchanges in a sustainable way. But let's sort of go back a little bit, because this is in fighting terms. And we showed that picture of the boxer. Well, in boxing terms, if you actually go into the ring unprepared, you will get knocked out. And that's the lesson, that's the learned lesson that the company has gotten from CRU. When we went to Unitex, we were unprepared. CRU went to Unitex with its backers, which is us, and we were full of confidence. We saw that training session where they had those people training and testing things and doing bugs. And I can remember people saying, "Wow, look at the price of CRU, it's 40 cents, it's 50 cents, it's going up." And there was a massive amount of confidence built around it when it went into the ring. And, quite honestly, let's face it, we got slaughtered. And the company is determined, very determined, that is not going to happen with World CRU. And that creates some incredible benefits for people who actually hold CRU. We've all seen pictures similar to this. We've all seen, an increase in portfolio increases dividends, that will increase participants, that will increase the price. Well, we've all seen this circular process. We all, it's been told to us over and over and over. But in some discussions that I've had recently with CRU Global, because I had some lengthy discussions with them, we were talking about the audited report that they put on CRU on the portfolio, and they made some quite interesting points to me, talking to me about things. And a lot of us actually we understand that an increasing portfolio doesn't actually mean increasing dividends. In fact, an increasing portfolio doesn't actually sometimes mean dividends at all. And so we've got to understand a little bit deeper about what the company is doing with all of these things that they're adding, either to increase the portfolio size or to increase participants. And we need to really get a mindset to understand, where do we fit into that? Now exactly what Michelle was talking about, if there's one of those businesses that you feel that you can really participate in, then, jump in, get onto their communication channel, whether it's Telegram or Facebook or whatever the social media is, get into it and really embrace and get totally into it and help that part of the organisation grow. If you're in another situation, you might also find that simply helping increase the price of World CRU, and at the moment, that means increase the price of CRU, is something that you are interested in doing, or you can do with whatever the time is that you have available. And that's what we're going to talk about tonight. Just as a brief recap on some of the things that the company are doing to make CRU stronger. They're creating more deposit withdrawal options. They're adding a new and incredible step forward in having a euro-backed stable coin. They're going to be adding in the next few weeks more cryptos for traders to trade with, and they've expanded out to 6 digits behind the decimal for trading. And these are the things that what Michelle was talking about, we can tell our friends about, because this is our Unitex exchange will have now an exchange that soon will have a stable coin that is backed by the two largest trading currencies in the world, in the US dollar and euro. And we're going to have that on one exchange. So that's something that is good and is interesting to be able to pass on to people in a social context that may just encourage them to come and join Unitex and get a position and start exchanging on Unitex. We have our portfolio, and there is continually having new assets added to it. We're just about to get a revaluation by CRU Global again, and we have CRU. And the thing that is going to help World CRU be made stronger is we've got to put CRU into the hands of people who actually understand its value. And the company is going to continue to burn CRU once they've been converted. And so, again, we're focusing now specifically on CRU, because in our analogy of boxing, as the discussion point that I started off with, CRU is actually a sparring partner for World CRU. And for World CRU to be strong, the things that strengthen it also of themselves have to be strong. So CRU has to be one of those strong things. So CRU is actually off to boot camp for a bit of a makeover and a bit of a shake-up. And the big question is, because it's all something that we're looking at every day, will CRU price actually be important? Well, if we could have a scenario where our stable coins of USDU or EURU was actually equal to 1 CRU, that would be pretty amazing, because there's a lot of things that are going to happen in the next 60, 90 days that are going to require stable coins, rather than this scenario. Because this is what we've got now, and this is really, really sad. And it actually is people not understanding, unfortunately, what the company is doing with the expansions they're doing of the portfolio, and with the expansions they're doing with getting more and more people involved in the company. Equity partners need to hold World CRU or CRU to engage with Everich. Now, that's actually a statement of fact. That's not a rhetorical question. That's the way it has to be. Anybody who wants to involve themselves in some financial arrangement with the company are going to be required to hold World CRU or CRU to participate in an equity arrangement. Now, what would be really good, hang on, no, that's a slide that's out of place, sorry about that. Oh, okay. Michelle, just you chat for, let me just see if I can pick up on, okay, I'm going to have to come back to this slide.
Okay.
Remember where that slide is.
Okay.
What happens with most startup companies and companies that are going to be coming to Everich as beginners, most of them are what are known as token rich, but cash poor. So how do those companies get to have World CRU or CRU as part of their arrangement for equity arrangement? Well, what would be lovely, I'm guessing they would love to be able to have their startup tokens that they've got and simply swap them for World CRU. But unfortunately for them, that actually is banned by the Securities and Exchange Commission, because World CRU is a security token. It can't be swapped for a utility token or anything like that. But what a company can do, what a new business can do, is they can go to Unitex, and Unitex will list these companies when they come. They will list their tokens on Unitex, and people can swap one of these companies' tokens for CRU. And then, with paying the conversion, they can then swap their CRU for WCRU. So a company can actually, a brand new company that has millions of tokens, there is a way that they can get the security token that they need to secure their business, which will help them with digital guarantees and things like that, by coming through the ecosystem that our company is creating, because we have probably the only utility token that with 3 clicks of a mouse button converts to a security token. And that's something that people are just not really understanding how significant that is. And if you actually really understood how significant 3 clicks of a mouse button can be, you just would not be selling World CRU. Now, another thing that these people can do is they can again they can do this swap on Unitex, and then they can swap Unitex. They can swap CRU for stable coins, and then with those stable coins through UGPay, or eventually also through Unitex as World CRU starts to unlock, they can use those stable coins to go and buy World CRU. But again, they haven't used their cash reserves to do this exercise. They've used token reserves. And so that gets back to that picture that I showed before, that wouldn't it be good if CRU was equal to 1 USDU, or was equal to 1 EURU? Because for us, the people who have got CRU right now, it means we are going to be able to exchange tokens of these startup businesses very, very in our favour, in our advantage. Because take for example, just say for example, there is a company that comes to Eva Rich, and they decide, and they have 10 tokens to equal 1 cent. Well, that means if CRU is only worth 2 cents, if you were to do a swap with them, you're only going to get 20 tokens. But if CRU was 80 cents, you would get 800 tokens of that new startup. So that's a really, really good reason to be thinking about, one, having CRU, because you don't need the money then to go buy tokens in these particular startup companies, and 2, having CRU at a higher price so you can maximize your income and earning potential from these companies. Now, also think about that. Think about what I call our in-house security tokens, the new ever-rich marketed security tokens that are going to be available from UGPay in these, and I've just listed these ones as an example, and they're on their way. They are going to be hitting, they're going to be coming very, very soon for us to be buying. Now, if we have the stable coins, if we have them, we can go and buy from UGPay. We can buy these companies. We can buy into these companies. We don't actually have to use cash. And if we're using, if we've done the conversion of CRU to these stable coins, and then from these stable coins we buy these packages, we're going to be in a fantastic position to expand our income streams and ultimately our wealth. So it's using this, if you understand that the things that are just about to be coming and happening within our ecosystem, having CRU and having crew at the highest possible price for those who do have it is only going to make our swapping power and our income potential so much greater. Now, I've done a quick little graph. If you have a look at this, if you look at these, we've got business one in our ever rich marketed businesses. And I'm not going to name any of them, because if you name anyone, then people get focused on the name that I've given. But say business one has a package that has 8,000, it's going to cost us 8,000 units, but they're offering us 1 million tokens for that 8,000 units. Well, in that chart below, in this chart here, if crew is only 2 cents, you're going to need 400,000 crew to buy those 8,000, to buy that 1 million tokens at 8,000 units. And this just shows how many crew you're going to need if you decide to buy. If one of those businesses come along and you decide, wow, that's a business that I want to get into, and you don't have the money to buy, you can buy into them with crew. Now, if you buy into them in a significant way, you're going to have to do the investment training course. And if you're going to do it again in a significant way, you're going to have to do the $5,000 training course. Well, if you have enough crew, if you actually have crew disposable at your disposal, this is how many crew you're going to need to actually be able to pay for those courses. And then if we extend that out a little bit further, say there's more than just one business that you want to get involved in. You look and you see other ones coming along. And I've just done an example of here's business 2 and business 3. And to buy a package in business 3, you want to outlay 3,000 units. In business 4, you want to outlay 4,500 units. This is the crew that you're going to need. And then if you wanted to do all 3 and do the investment course, then this is what you're going to need depending on the price of crew. So it makes a lot of sense when we can buy crew right now, unbelievably cheap. It's so cheap right now. And if we were to accumulate a few 100,000 crew right now, and we were to park them and go stake them on a node, which we'll talk about in later, or go, and one of the things that you can do if you've got, and we're going to go through that later too, just in a couple of slides time, about how to turn crew over on the exchange, but do it making a profit. Because it's very important that whatever we're doing on the exchange, we've seen it talked about with people say, oh, I took a hit for the company today, I made a loss, but it created volume. Well, we don't want that. There's no point. There is 0 point in taking a loss to simply create something to create forward movement when we can do it and not take a loss. So we're going to look at that in a minute's time, just in a few slides' time. But these things that we're talking about, these are just ahead of us, just weeks and weeks ahead of us, that these things are going to come up where the owning of disposable crew, which is CRU, is the only one that we've got that's disposable, where if we can build the price up, where we can exchange it to USDU or we can exchange it to EURU at a more favourable rate, then we don't need to have as many. As I just mentioned, that we can accumulate these as you buy them now, waiting for these things to occur. We're going to be able to stake them, and as staking has just taken a bit of a unlock CRU staking has taken a bit of an alteration with the readjustment of the rewards for staking to the EOS miners. Looking at staking our CRU is very, very important that we reappraise that. But what we're going to talk about now is probably the biggest reason to want to have CRU. I think what we just covered about being able to buy into these businesses as they're coming our way, using CRU to do it, by being able to exchange it at a favourable rate with USDU or EURU. But this is a really big reason coming up. The company is more than likely going to suspend very soon the selling of actual WCRU. And there's a reason that they're going to do that. And the reason is summed up in this little picture here. If you want to fly, you have to give up the things that weigh you down. And what will stop World CRU from being the flight's success that they want it to be is, for whatever reason, whether it's intentional or unintentional, there is simply a very great disrespect that people have for CRU. Now, maybe it's because we got it given to us so easily. I don't know, and it's not the purpose of this webinar to go into why they are. But we know that CRU is not an asset-backed token, and therefore is never going to be a security token. However, it is so closely tied to World CRU that it actually, how people see it, is actually still going to affect World CRU. And we have come to a form of a Mexican standoff has become apparent, where because there is no appreciable rise in the price of CRU, imitating the price rises of World CRU. And the company's in a position where they actually can't backpedal on their CRU plans. They've got to move forward with it. They've got to look at what's causing them problems and overcome those. So they can't go back. And it doesn't seem, for whatever reason, that there's a majority of members right now, their attitude to CRU is actually strangling the growth of CRU. So rather than continue the standoff, the company has decided to buy out those who, for whatever reason, seem determined to keep the price low, and to do it in a way that those who don't respect the value of owning CRU will only get for their CRU what they believe it is worth. So they're not going to stop selling what CRU is. They're just going to stop selling CRU as a direct token. So a buyer now will understand, and a buyer now will be shown that a buyer will buy CRU from Unitex, and then they will convert them. By suspending the direct selling of WCRU, the company's not going to stop conversions of CRU to World CRU. But the strategy that I believe they're now going to use is they're going to now guarantee to a buyer that they will never pay more than, at the moment, it's 80 cents. Now, in a very short period of time, it's going to be $1. But a person coming to buy CRU, buy WCRU, they're going to know right now that they have to pay 80 cents. They're coming to the party with that knowledge. And so there's a choice. that they can come to Unitex and buy it at 80 cents. And if they do buy it at 80 cents, they just know that they've got to pay the 1% conversion fee. Or they can come to Unitex and they can buy it for 2 cents. And then when they do their conversion, still pay to Unitex the 78 cents, because they're guaranteed that it's not going to cost them more than 80 cents if they do it through Unitex. And they know that obviously they've also got to pay that 1% commission. What that will do is it will have the effect of moving the ownership of CRU from those that either don't respect it or don't understand what the company are doing with it to those who do. Now, Andre Hirato is making a very, very clear statement. He's saying to us, help me clear out all the CRU and you can keep the 80 cents. In 2 weeks' time, he'll be happy for us to keep the $1. But he's saying, if you don't want it, I'll happily take it. So a buyer will come to the company, get involved with the company, join the ecosystem that Everich is creating, that is the new economic evolution of the world. And he will know that he's going to pay 80 cents for his CRU. So he's going to come prepared to pay the $12,000 plus the 1% conversion fee. Now he can come with his 80 cents and he can go straight to the exchange and buy it for 80 cents. And then he can pay his 1% conversion and have his world CRU. Or the option 2 is he can go to the exchange and pay 2 cents for it, where the person selling their 15,000 CRU for 2 cents will get $300. 5% and the 78 cents, which is 11,700, will go to UGPay. Now we know that 5% of that is going to go into the pool for loyalty bonuses for as long as the loyalty bonuses continue. But you're giving up $12,000 simply because you're putting your CRU on the market at 2 cents. And Andre Hirato, repeat, he's saying to us, if you help me get rid of CRU, because that's what he wants to do. By the time he re-releases World CRU, he really wants to see a lot of CRU locked up, tied up, staked on nodes, or gone. And he's prepared to let us have totally whatever it goes for, whatever we can sell it for on the exchange. You can keep the 80 cents as it is right now, but if you don't want it, he'll happily take it from us. So if we actually see that we want the full amount of what CRU potentially can offer to us, what do we do about that? Because it's obvious that those who actually can understand what the company is doing with the building of all of the things that they're doing to increase the portfolio, to increase the number of participants to the company, that those who understand what is about to happen in the next few months will actually become the new owners of all the available CRU. And as a result of that new ownership, as a result of that mindset, as a result of the understanding of what is just about to happen with our company, the price actually will go up. So that begs the question, what makes a price go up? And it's actually a little bit involved. So I hope that I don't make this too complicated, because it's not what people sometimes think. The price goes up, you've got to understand something that Sir Isaac Newton understands. You've got to understand Newton's third law of motion. And Newton's third law of motion is for every action, there is an equal and opposite reaction. And I hope that this isn't too complicated, but price rises, the price of CRU rises as a direct result of a buyer's belief that it won't fall. And their fear of missing the lowest buying price will cause them to buy in and chase an increasing price. When sellers of CRU, what we need to do is we need to be able to convince buyers that the lowest price listed on the exchange is the lowest price that it's ever going to be. And if sellers are convincing, and if they are disciplined, and if their resolve is strong, then buyers will chase the price upwards. And on an exchange, that conviction is called green volume. It's volume that is green. It's not volume that's red. Because we all can sit around until the cows come home and we can hold hands and hum kumbaya. It is not going to make the price of CRU go up if people who are wanting to buy it believe that the price that they've listed, that they're prepared to buy at, if they believe it will actually drop to the level that they've put on it, they're going to keep that they're going to keep that buy option open. And it means that sellers will be the ones that cave, and they are the ones that will lack the discipline, and they will bring the price down to what the buyers are prepared to buy. So I just want to say that again, that what makes a price go up isn't the fact that we want to have wonderful positive thoughts about it going up. What makes a price go up is the belief in the mind of a buyer that it is not going to go down, and that the price that they are looking at, that is the lowest price on the exchange, is the best buying price that they're ever going to get. If we can show someone the value of owning CRU, and if you go back through what we've talked about just today, there is going to be a massive value in actually having CRU, disposable CRU, available to you. If people can understand that, wow, I can buy into Basalt, I can buy into Diamonds Gold, Movies, Eversync, all of these different things without using my money. I can trade and I can exchange and I can use CRU and I can buy it when it's so cheap now, and then I can use it later. If we can convict people that way, and then add to that conviction that the price isn't going down anymore. The only movement that's going to happen is basically it's going to be going up. Then buyers will chase the price of CRU up. So to do that, we need to have a plan, because we've heard people talking about taking a hit from the team now. So this is just a quick little chart. If you had $100 to invest and CRU was at 1.5 cents, and you went and bought it, when you buy your CRU, you're going to pay that conversion fee. So you'll buy this number of CRU. If you hung on to it till it went up a couple of points because you're trying to encourage movement upwards on the exchange, so it goes to 5.4, you'll sell it for that price. You actually will lose money. You're actually taking a hit for the team. And if you rebuy at a lower price, like we're suggesting, and you do that exercise again, you've lost money again. Now, when you lose money each time you do an exchange, you're not going to be able to sustain that. One, it's terribly disappointing and it's discouraging. You look at you're buying less crew each time you do an exchange and you're losing money. That's not something that's going to motivate anybody. And so what happens is the building of the price dissipates very quickly when people see that they're actually losing money. So your plan has to be something that you're not going to lose money out of. So you've got to look at a plan. So the ascension to greatness, this is what I've called it. This is my ascension to greatness plan. So this is what you got to, this is the way I think you've got to look at it. To do it, to maintain capital, I've got to, just let me go back, I didn't mention, you've got to take into account the exchange fees when we're talking about very, very small numbers, low numbers, cheap numbers, because that exchange fee is a factor. And this isn't the be all and end all. This is just the way that I do it, but it's a way that when I trade or when I'm not trading, and it's another thing that you got to do, I'm exchanging. When we go on to Unitex, we aren't trading in the financial term of the word trading. All we're doing is exchanging. So please understand that there's quite a difference between trading and exchanging. When you trade, when I'm trading on other exchanges, I can actually make money when things are going down. But when I'm exchanging, I can only make money when things go up. And that's what we're doing here. We're exchanging. So what we're going to do, if I'm going to exchange and if I'm going to try and help create volume and encourage forward movement, when I get to my price that I'm going to sell at, I only sell a percentage of my crew at that price. And at these low prices, I've got three different categories, three different percentage amounts of crew. And here we have the amount that represents. And then I do a quick little cross check between what I bought and what I'm budgeting on and what I'm working with, make sure they're the same. And then I have this on a spreadsheet and I copy this into the exchange. And this is the way I know that I get down to here, and you can see here that when these things come about, I will make $100.25. So if you look over here, I started off with $100. I've done on very small numbers and I've made 25 cents, and I'm not fussed about the 25 cents on this first rotation. What I am fussed about is that I didn't lose money, because our ability and our desire to continue to do something is absolutely linked to our potential to make money. So I have set the factors, my growth factors. I set my base, I double it, and then I double it. So I've set those. So then I go back into the exchange at the price that I've set. I do the same mathematics again, but this time when I worked it through, I don't do 3 splits, I just do 2 splits. But again, I'm checking my numbers to make sure my numbers that I've added up right, that this is equaling that. I work out my figures, and I work out again that I've made a little bit more profit. Now, when you do this, if you look at what I started off with, I've actually lost a few crew. And when you do something on a spreadsheet and you do it over 6 or 7 rotations, you can get to see where you're going to end up. And so, yes, it will show, because you're buying back at a higher price, and I only made 25 cents out of that last exchange. So I helped create some volume on the exchange. I helped create some movement. I didn't lose any money, but because I'm going to buy back at a higher price, I'm not going to buy as many CRU the next time around. But when you have this mapped out and you've rotated it a couple of times, you'll see that it turns around, and we're going to show that. Again, I've worked out what my cell growth ratios are, and we do the thing again. And you just keep doing this when you map this out. And this is, we have the mindset. We've got to first of all know where Andre Harato is trying to take the company. What is he trying to do? And if you are in agreement with him and that you've got his mindset and you can understand it, then this is the skill set part. This is what we talked about last week with what Robert Kiyosaki talked about mindset, skill set, and discipline. And so if we've got the mindset correct, then this is the skill set that we've got to do. We've got to create these things, and you don't have to create this one. This is mine. You can create your own. But then the third part of this is you've got to have the discipline to follow it. And the reason why you have the discipline of you're doing all these checks and you're checking that this is correct, you're checking you've got these ratios, is because if it doesn't work for you, or if you need to trim down your profit margin, you know what it is to tweak. Do you tweak your percentage split? Do you keep these growth rates the same, but you change these? And these are things that you learn. These are the skills that we learn that help us keep moving the price up, keep moving the price forward. And if we're all doing this, keeping on moving the price up, keeping on moving the price forward, what happens to the buyers? The buyers suddenly see that the price isn't going to come down again. And we know that their belief and the strength of their belief in the price not ever coming back down is actually what pushes the price up. And so if we have these charts and we have these disciplines and we have these controls, we keep progressing with this, we keep doing this, we keep making a profit. And eventually what happens here is you'll see that we actually start earning more CRU. We're making a profit and we're earning CRU. When this exercise started, and you can go back and see it in a replay, you'll see that we had 6,259 CRU in, 4 rotations or 5 rotations. When we've made profit every time we've done an exchange, and we're now also showing an increase in the number of CRU that we're buying each time we're doing the exchange. Now, when we start doing this, this is the resolve of a seller that is not going to stop selling if he is making a profit and he's increasing the number of CRU that he owns each rotation of an exchange. And it's this resolve in the sellers that means that this cycle never stops. And as buyers see it not stopping, it changes their perspective, and then they start chasing the price up. And then what happens is, as it gets easier and easier to actually do your selling, these cell growth factors change. These percentages change. In fact, you can find that in time, you won't even do the percentage split at all. You'll just have new numbers that you work through, but that's a skill that we learn. Now, we can keep exchanging over and over and over until the time comes that we can convert CRU at that attractive rate that has been promised in 3 years' time. or we can create the 1% only changeover cost by having crew equal world crew. We can do it now, or we can do it in 6 months' time. We can do it in 4 months' time. We can do it at a time frame that we determine, if our mindset and our resolve and our skills allow us to. So it is what we talked about in last week's webinar, the week before. It is, we've got to have the right mindset. We've got to see that, do we actually really believe that the new economic evolution of the world is something worth being involved in? And you've got to answer that first, honestly, truthfully. If you don't see it, then you just become a bystander and step out of the way. But understand that you'll probably, I firmly believe that you will lose out with that mindset in the long run. But if we do have the mindset that we think this is something worth sticking with, then we've got to develop those exchanging skills. There's lots of people stepping up at the moment to help us develop the skills. We've got groups that are forming, that are following the lead that we set with what we presented a few weeks ago. We've got a lady, Bushra, in our education group. She's posting charts, she's showing diagrams, she's doing explanations. So we've got individual people stepping up. We've got groups of people forming all over the world. I was hearing today, I think Liz Forster posted that there's a Colombian grinders group. I know there's a Dutch one. There's what Andrew 12tree is building and doing. That there's so many people offering to those that feel a little bit less skilled in coming up with ideas that will help create a sustainable upward moving growth. And then, of course, we've got to have the discipline to see it through. We've got to have the discipline that you're just going to see this through. You're going to make it happen. And if you do it and you're not losing money, it's so much easier to be disciplined when you're not losing money. So these things, this cycle actually, it does work. If the portfolio is increasing and making increased profits and dividends are increasing, people will be more joining the world. The price of crew will go up. Yes, it does work like that as well. But we can also affect this one by the actions that we're taking, irrespective of these. That these other things that are occurring just make what we're going to do easier, but we can actually participate in this by building up crew right now and ultimately what we're doing is we're making world crew stronger when it actually comes to be driven by market forces. We often talk about, the crew price or world crew, is going to go to the moon. I've seen that on so many chat groups where people talk about that. Well, here's a fun fact about going to the moon. At liftoff, the two solid rocket boosters consume 11,000 pounds of fuel per second. And that's 2 million times the rate of which fuel is burned in the average family car. And the point of this slide is to say that it is going to be a massive amount of work. It's a massive amount of work. But the more of us that do it and take on that load, it's not all up to one person. It's not all up to a group of persons. The more of us that, like Michelle was talking about, the more people we get to join Unitex, the more people that we get. If you're doing the thing with Ugain, the more people you bring into the ecosystem from Ugain, or doing digital doubles or digital guarantees or all of those things. But we also can all be doing, like Michelle said, and it shows that I was listening to what you're saying, Michelle, whether it's one exchange a day or whether it's 6 exchanges a day. If you have a spreadsheet set up and if people need to learn how to create a spreadsheet, we're more than happy to do a training on how we can do that and set them up. But if you've got it written down and you know exactly what you're going to do, as the things occur on the exchange that meet the criteria that you're doing it, you've set, then you know what action that you have to take. And if all of us are doing that in a disciplined way, the price of CRU will go up because buyers will become to understand that it's actually not going to go down again. So turning things around together is what it's all about. That's the whole purpose of what these 3 webinars have been about, is that we don't do it on our own, we do it together. And this is a really perfect slide that expresses it all, that it's not about being perfect. That what I showed today in that slideshow might not be to you the perfect answer. None of us may actually have the perfect answer, but it's about the effort. And when you bring that effort to every single day, now I'm talking about when we bring that effort to every single exchange, that's where transformation happens. And that's how change occurs. And when that change does occur, as we're wrapping up now, when that change does occur and we see that price of CRU and ultimately the strength of world CRU increasing, that news will spread like wildfire. I firmly believe that, and it will then help the attraction of people to our token, to our exchange, to our ecosystem. It will help that process be done easier. And Michelle, that is where this ends, and I am handing it back and opening up the floor for questions.
Thank you, Richard. And another amazing webinar. Like, there's always something new to learn. Like, gosh, aren't we lucky to have Richard tell us all these amazing things? I just also wanted to mention on our education group, we had this amazing guy, Penroy, who has been creating and working with it to develop an app. And he's based it on the sort of things that Richard's been talking about, buying and selling and increasing. It's just about to go into testing, and he's just connected it with the API of Unitex, which means it'll bring in live data and it'll be able to trade for us. So we actually won't have to do too much. We just basically set and forget. And it's an amazing initiative from someone in our group to do this, and I'd really like to congratulate him. It's about to go into testing, and he's not here, but I know he'll watch the replay, and I know Tom's been involved with it as well, and Richard and I, and so we've all been sort of talking about it behind the scenes. And I really want to congratulate him for having a go and building this little bot for us to trade. And if we can get lots of new people joining Unitex and get them onto this, man, we're going to create some serious volume. So I know Penroy will see this, the recording part of this. So can we all just give him a big clap so he can see us, and just so well done, and yay. Yeah, and that's something to look forward to. So once it is tested, we'll go through a testing. We will release it via the education group. So get your team involved, because we want our education group members to be the testers and contribute to it. And yeah, let's build that volume up, guys. That's the whole thing. And well done, Richard, for a great webinar. Well done, Andrew Twelftree, for getting the word spread around. Like, that's something we really need to have everyone in the world know about what we have. And if you guys take on some of this stuff, we're doing our job. Don't you reckon, Richard?
Absolutely. No,
we're getting there. One at a time.
I know that there's groups springing up now all over the world.
It's really cool.
To do this. So, what we've got to do is just try and do it. Like what I wanted to show tonight was to do it, but don't take a loss doing it, because you're not doing yourself a favour. And we just need to, if we can make money and then start making crew, then wow, it's going to be lots and lots of fun.
Yeah.
So,
absolutely.
questions?
Let's go, guys.
No, it's online.
Yes, he's here. I saw him earlier. He's here somewhere. I was talking to him.
It's online.
Where is he?
Henry, if you're here, can you just unmute, and we'd love to hear your views and just an update on your app. I know everyone's going to want to get their hands on this app once he's finished it. I think he's actually dropped off, Richard. So,
okay.
What we might do in our next webinar, we might I'll liaise with him and we'll get him to do some screenshots, and maybe he can do a live demo for us all. Like,
Yeah, that'd be
should be able to
fantastic.
testing, and we can do a live demo so everyone can have a look at it. I'm so excited about it. Like, it's so cool. Love it.
Yeah.
Any
All right,
questions?
Okay, any questions? Or
there's one, where can we get onto Andre's blog? That's from Andrew and Lucy. That is, I think it'll be a Google thing. I don't actually have the link for his blog. I know I've got his Instagram link. Richard, do you have a?
no, I don't have it right on. No, I don't. But I can post it in the group. We can get
the links, and we'll post it. Yeah,
we'll post them in the group. I'll get them in tomorrow. What's tomorrow? No, Saturday. Okay, probably be Sunday. Won't be Saturday. But no, anything? Anybody? Just questions? If not, we'll
wrap it up.
We'll wrap things up.
Sir, I have a question, please.
Yeah, mate.
Praveen. Sir, could you please tell me more about the euro stable coin and how it will be going to get advantages from in our exchange?
Yeah, okay. It's in its development stage. It'll be here soon, but it's simply going to be a stable coin that's backed by euro. Like USDU is tied to the US dollar. The EURU will be tied to euro, but the company have got to go through the various stages of having the liquidity. They've got to back it. They've got to stake a certain amount of money to back it through the people that provide the liquidity for it. So it's a right now it's a work in progress. But that's the way the company want to go. They want to have the two biggest exchange currencies in the world to have a stable coin and it's attractive to people who want to steer away from the US dollar. It just gives people who come to our exchange an alternative. But exactly what Michelle was talking about, that the information about it is posted in the news sections in our back office. It's there, that you just need to keep reading. Just like you said, you don't have to read it every day, but every couple of days or, a couple of times a week, because there's things happening all the time within the various parts of the company. But, that's coming.
Richard, we've got a message from Lorna if you could post a copy of your spreadsheet in the Telegram group.
Yep.
Yep. So, yep. Answer to your question, Lorna. Yep.
Yep.
Anybody else?
Richard, you mentioned in the WCRU made stronger the revaluation of investment value by CROWE. How do we get onto that? Is that something on Google that we can find out?
Yeah, no, the company will release that when they've finished it. It's in the process of being done now. When I had a talk to the particular people there that have done it, they were saying that the company, we had a chat about certain things, but as a document to be released, it is to be released by the company, but the company will have said that they will do that.
Okay, all right, thanks.
Anybody else? Okay, we can call
No.
it then.
Yeah,
All right,
I have a question.
Okay, go.
Yeah. About the exchanging on the Unitex, from the spreadsheet. How, because it's taking quite a while. Sometimes the price stays in a sort of the same position for quite a while. I mean, I remember when I just came on Unitex, I was actually doing this as well, just because I was having a bit fun. And in the beginning, I was like, oh, yeah, that's nice. It's going. There was quite a bit of fluctuation in the price, so that it really was working. But then suddenly the price was staying a long time in a similar position, and it takes a long time to effectuate those numbers that you put on your sheet, Richard.
Yep.
So how do we do that? If you want to create volume, you also are saying there has to be a turnover, but if you're waiting for the price to go up, the turnover won't be there.
Yeah, it's if you've got scope in your price and that's why you've got to have it written down. Like if you're looking at the numbers that you're turning around and you look at your profit margin, and so you have scope to change a price or bring a price down or fiddle around with a price. But what you've got to do is, if you're going to change your price, you need to do it on your spreadsheet first to verify that what the impact of your profit is going to be before you actually affect it on the exchange. So you actually do a paper trade in your Excel spreadsheet to say, okay, I'm going to drop that one that there's one that you drop, the one that's closest to the price that is the lowest price. If you drop that down to the lower price, you may have to adjust the other ones, the middle one, you may have to take up a price, lift it up a level. So what you want to do is you want to have your package in profit by the time you've completed your trades. If you actually have a look and you go through that sheet that I actually presented, you'll see that on that very first one I actually make a loss on that first one that I sell at 15%. But because the one that I sell at 60% makes a profit, it makes up for the loss that I've taken early. And what it is, sometimes it's your 1,000 CRU that you've sold a bit cheaper adds to another person who sold 500 CRU a bit cheaper, and you bring it down, and that starts the process again. But if you lose money doing this, there's no point doing it. And that's where the discipline of you have to sometimes sit it out. I've sat out trades where I've done in the trading that I do on actual Forex trading. I've sat trades that I actually thought were going to be over in 3 hours. Sometimes I've had to sit on them for 4 days before they got back to where I thought they were going to be. I just messed up my figures. But because I've got my figures written down, and I can go back and I can analyse, what did I see? Was there something that I saw wrong? Was there something that I did wrong? Was there something that I should have seen that I didn't see? And because I've got it written down all the time, even on the ones that are successful, you look back at those ones and you see, is there something I could have done better? But so many people, when they're exchanging, they look at the exchange, they make a decision, and there's no accounting for that decision. So they can't go back and look at what they did to analyse their decision-making processes. And that's why I really believe that you just write everything down and you run it through Excel first, and then you put it onto the exchange. And if you have to wait a couple of days for something to happen, then sometimes if your numbers are such that you don't have any scope to change your numbers, then unfortunately you just have to sit it out. Now, what will happen is when there are hundreds of people doing it, the instances where you're going to be bogged down are very rare. You know, they're rare. It's also really important to look at on the exchange, you've got those bars at the top that show you your hourly turnovers and your 24-hour turnovers and things like that. It's really, really good to have a look at what the hourly turnover is, what you're going to do on your chart, and see what percentage of hourly turnover is going to be your turnover. Because I've done trading on our Unitex exchange where my exchanges was 60% of what got done in that hour, which means I'm going to run out of steam really fast because my plan is it's not going to fall apart because I'm disciplined enough to sit on it. But it means I'm going to end trading for the day very quickly.
Yeah.
Because it's basically all the volume is been my trading. And so when and that's not being a big head about it. That just happens to be that, I was going to trade 500 and there was only 700 traded in that hour. It just happened to be that was the day I got on. But when you're there and you're going to be trading 100 and you look at the turnover for that hour and there's 25,000, then the probability is your 100 or your 200 is not going to get bogged down. It's only when your percentage becomes really big. So that's a figure that you have in your chart. You have written in your chart, what is your percentage of total volume being traded? What is your percentage? You have that figure. So you know that when I'm trading at 8% of the total volume, I've run into a problem. And the more information that you collect about your trading activity and what is happening on the exchange, the more effective an exchanger you will be.
Okay. And do you sorry, just a follow-up question. When you in the beginning you split the amount, like you say, hey? So you sell a small amount for a cheaper price, and then you have the larger amount for the higher price. But when the smaller amounts come through, so you already have them, they've already come through, and the other one is you're still waiting on. Do you actually wait till the whole thing comes through, or do you already start?
No, I've got a float amount. I've got an amount that I don't commit. Like when I'm doing my exchanging, it's not all of what I've got on that one exchange. So I will carry all of what I've got in a float. So if I've spent, if I've got 6,000 CRU on a particular exchange broken into 3 lots, when I sell that first lot, if I move to begin a second one, it's because I've got a float that is equal to the full amount of what I've put on that first exchange. And so then when I do that second exchange, the money that I get off the other 2 amounts when they're realised and they're caught goes back into my float.
Okay.
And then you can keep doing it. Now we had it, I think it was the middle of last week, where it was the best day of Unitex trading we have had. Things went absolutely nuts. I have no idea what happened. It was in fact, prices were going up faster. I was skipping on my Excel spreadsheet. I was skipping exchange things because I couldn't keep up. It was so much fun. It was like a, kid in a candy store. It was so much fun. But then there are other days where you look at it and the numbers are just they're quite, and that's just because there's not the people doing it. We need what Michelle was talking about. I don't think we need 1 million people. I think if we had, and if we've got 30,000, if we had 3,000 people trading with a positive mindset and a positive thing at any one time, things would rock. They really would move. I mean, if you look at, I've kept the charts of when we started doing it that particular day where things went crazy. I actually took a screenshot of how much money was sitting on the 1 cent level. At 1 cent, that's where people were prepared to think. And at the end of that day, that had dropped by 1/3, where we changed the minds of buyers, and they had taken so much money, had been cancelled on those low prices and moved up to higher price. We actually did it in that one day. We changed the view of buyers, and that's what pushes the price up. It was a big fun day.
Richard, we've just got Panroy that's joined us, and I was wondering, Panroy, if you could unmute yourself and just give everyone a quick overview of your bot, because I know everyone's going to want to hear about it.
Actually, I have a very poor internet connection over here. Actually, I'm driving.
You're driving?
So, yeah, that's why I lost the connection in between.
Are you able to give us an update?
What should I tell you? Actually, the bot I'm making is a market making bot. It could help. It could really help us build the volumes on the exchange, and also to bring the prices up.
Yeah, it's not going to work. He's
it's not going to work,
his
Panroy.
car and it keeps dropping out.
Yeah.
All right, but we'll get him on. We'll get him lined up.
We'll get you on the
for
next
another,
one.
Yeah, we'll get him on. We'll get him back. He's our man. He's going to be our He's one of us. He's one of us.
We'll do another webinar.
We'll get him back. We'll sign him up to an exclusive contract that he talks to us first.
You heard it on this channel.
You heard it. Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Okay,
Love
that's
it,
good.
you guys. Thank you so much for joining us. We always appreciate the constant support from you guys. And thank you, Richard, for a great webinar.
Richard, may I ask a question? What do you think would be suitable for the amount of trades in an hour for bot?
Oh, mate, that's
About
way
4
too
trades
open.
an hour?
Sorry?
About 4 trades an hour?
No, look, that's really
that's
how much is it going to be trading on each trade?
Yeah.
And at the exchange, there's too many. There's way too many. Like you've got to, your bot's got to be reading. What's the volume on the exchange in that hour? Because
I want all of us in our group to use it, of course. So that's 2,000 people. Then we create an enormous amount of volume.
Yeah, but that's what beta testing is all about. When they do a beta testing of things, they will find what is the ideal circumstances of overall trading, all sorts of things, and that's where that's why you beta test something, to then work out what the parameters are that makes it work the best.
Yeah, but you might have already got an idea for yourself. My idea is about 4 trades an hour for every person.
Tom, I don't think the technicals of it is to be discussed here now, because I think we'll have another webinar for all of that, because I think it's getting late for us.
Yep.
And we need to finish it.
Yep. All right, guys.
Thanks, guys. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
See you later. Bye-bye.
Put the recording up. No.
Thank you. Bye-bye.